Hello, my name is Vincent Catillas, and this is my ABE 205 project. Basically what I did was try to map the growth of different cell lines, MIAPACA2, KRAS, and PDAC cells based on known values, which you see right here, for their development over 18 days in millions of cells. So 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, etc. I plotted these and basically got these functions right here, which told me about what rate they were growing exponentially, because all tumor cells grow exponentially, even though this KRAS doesn't look like it. Eventually it does. All it is just a change in the fact that it's just off course just means there was probably stimulation or lack of on this side. Anyways, from here, I basically generated an array mapping that exact thing. So if you recognize right here, that is the function that was on that graph. It's some constant times e, a2 I designated later on as e, to the a3 times I. So if you're wondering what these constants are, they're all dimensioned up here as public variables. So if you don't know what that means they are available to use anywhere. They can be regular subs, private subs, they can be on your module, cell info, they can be absolutely anywhere. They will always represent the same constant no matter what, unlike I and J if you use them somewhere else, because they're dimensioned within the sub. So, going back to my main worksheet, what happens is I've got this graph here trying to map the succeeding at mapping different cell lines of they're mapping different cell lines that you choose based off of here. So this user form, you can choose your cell lines, which I showed earlier. So MIAPACA2, and then different mediums. So you got simple, carbohydrate enhanced, metformin enhanced, and metformin is actually a drug commonly used in diabetic medicines. And then metformin and carbohydrate together in a medium. So I'm going to choose carbohydrate enhanced, and then just select C1, and let's say, C3, and then C6. And then let's make it at 40 degrees Celsius. So if you check under data, it tells you, hello, your MIAPACA2 cells in carbohydrate enhanced medium are located in the warm room. They've been placed in the incubator set at 40 degrees Celsius. On your graph, you will see C1, C3, C6 cultures and their development in the past or future 18 days. There you go, okay, that's cool. Enter data. What this does is take all these variables that you put in and basically put it into that massive array that you saw, and then generates that array. And another small function that happens actually when the minute you select data in your user form, maps or unmaps or takes off every single one of these cell lines. So if you look right here, C1, C3, and C6 were the ones we chose. So C1 starts off at 2, C3 starts off at 12, and C6 starts off at 27 million cells. So C2 only grows from 2 to 10 million cells, 3 from 12 to 20 million cells, and C6 from 27 to 35 million cells in the time span of 18 days. So basically from this you can calculate the amount of cells that will be anywhere between the current day and 18 days later based off of the function that I have. And so it says right here, Miyapaka 2 is your cell line. Your room is the warm room, and your set temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. So that's all fine and dandy, but you got to know the code behind it. So let's go to that. So here's the user form. Obviously, it's all nice and pretty. I chose red, in case you were wondering, because red is actually the color of the mediums in which the cells are growing. It's kind of like pinkish / orange / red. So it's all that like reddish blends. And so I thought that would be an appropriate color for this user form, because that's what this user form is all about. It's growing cells. So let's go to actually this one. This, again, going back to here, is my array. So this first part right here is just the function representing the growth rate of the cells in standard conditions. If you want to see better, there it is in red. Pause the video because I don't have time right now. Next, times. So basically what's this going to do is it's going to multiply by some coefficient determined by these other variables. So it's going to help grow or impede. So if it's positive, obviously it'll help it grow. If it's negative, it'll kill it. If it's 0, it'll just take it out, which won't happen. Make sure of that. And if it's 1, it just won't affect it. So basically that's this part right here. That's the function decreasing rate with both lower and higher temperatures. So that means that no matter what, each cell obviously has its preferred temperature for growing. And so that's going to be determined as A7, like x minus 7. For example, if you had x minus 7 squared, you know that a parabola was centered at 7 because that's your number of interest right there. So this is your preferred, your optimal condition, optimal temperature for growing. And A8 eventually is defined as the temperature you choose. So that's that part. So if this entire thing is 1, it'll help this grow, but it'll basically downsize your... Let me say that again, I got twisted up. If this number is greater than 1, it will absolutely help the tumors grow. If it's less than 1, if it's negative, well, not negative, but like between 0 and 1, this will help, this will impede the growth of the tumors. And if it's 1, then it will just be normal. So that's that part. Going to this part right there, which is also located right here, this is just your, again, see how this part is multiplied to your normal function? Well, this part is also multiplied to this, to your normal function, which is your function increasing or decreasing based on the medium. So A9, A10 is just a activate or deactivate variable. So if this is not there, if A9 is 0, if I had not put an A10 there, obviously all of this would have been 0, and that would have been disastrous because that would mean every single one of my cells don't grow and are in the same medium and same number, which is not what I want. So this A10 is here to make it 1 or 0, which will turn off or on this little part of the equation. Same thing goes for this A6 right here, which will turn off or on this exponential, which and this A5 actually. A5 is going to be your amplitude, so if it's 1, it's just your exponential, And if A6 is 0, then your exponential is just going to turn to 1. So that's just going to be 1 times your actual thing, which again gives you a regular function. So going back to cell info, gotta hurry up here. Going back to cell info, forget about that. Basically what this is if your combo box value is Miapaka, then you've got these variables which are determined by your cell line functions right there. And so that is the same thing for that and that. And basically what I did for the rest of the variables is put in the A7, which again is your optimal temperature. And you can see PDAC actually is not 37, but actually 0 degrees Celsius. And then the rest of them are all numbers, so that the other two sub-equations multiplied to the actual growth equation are turned off. So they're both equal to 1, which won't impede it. Basically what happens is that when you choose, not that yet, when you choose combo box 2, which is your medium, A9 and A10, which is your function that increases or decreases right here, basically that gets turned off because it's simple. This one helps the tumors grow a little, this one kind of kills them a little, and this one absolutely just destroys them all. This is my message box one. Cell is just your combo box option. Your medium is your combo box 2 option. Culture is the cultures you select, so C1, C2, C3, and so on. Temperature is the ones you decide to take. Your room numbers, well, not room numbers, but your room is, if you pick the first 4, then it's warm room, and if you pick the second 4, then that's your cold room. And so it just puts them in lines, puts the lines into a data, and then your message box says that data. These option buttons that are all right here basically say that your A8, which changes right there your function to increase or decrease your growth function based on temperature, is defined as 30 degrees, 37 degrees, 40, 50, blah, 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 blah. And so basically it just puts in saying, okay, this is in the warm room and your temperature is A8, which you defined right there. And that's said over and over again for every single option button there is. For here, I just basically defined what was supposed to go in the user form. And up here is the tricky part. This is the fun part. Or not so fun, if you don't like programming. So basically what this is going back to this one. This says that in your main worksheet, the one I have, my chart is activated. And in that active chart, your series, which are Series 1, Series 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are named C1, C2, C3, and so on, basically say your line is not visible. It's false. See? And so that turns off every single line, all of them, when you choose your first, when it first opens up, because combo box is activated and everything. So that's that. And then what happens is if you choose these ones right here, based on the checkbox you choose, it's going to turn it on. See? And turn on only that one. So if you choose multiple, it's going to choose, for example, checkbox 1 and checkbox 2, and they're both going to turn on. But the rest will be inactive. Unless you choose this one, of course, which is the none, and will turn on every single one, which eventually makes for a pretty awesome user form, I might say. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.